One of the most unique things about the San Antonio SeaWorld is that their Shamu Stadium is completely enclosed. I assume it's because of the heavy temperatures that they get in Texas.
She was born right here at SeaWorld San Antonio, and her name is Sakari! Next up, you're going to meet one of our big boys. He is 16 years old and weighs over 7,000 pounds. Here is Tuar! He weighs over 9,000 pounds. Put your hands together for Kayukit. Aren't they incredible?
Now, you guys can see how different each whale is. But did you know there are even bigger differences in the wild? In fact, would you be surprised if I told you there are different kinds of killer whales? Scientists refer to them as ecotypes. They live in different habitats, they have different body types, and they even pursue different kinds of food. Now, one of the questions that we get asked all the time is, how big does a killer whale grow to be? Well, the answer to that will depend on which ecotype that you're talking about. Is it a 16-foot female in Iceland or a 30-foot male in Antarctica? Let's take a closer look.
The remarkable thing about killer whales, no matter which type, is that they are found throughout our global ocean, from the Arctic to the Antarctic, and literally everywhere in between. They are found in so many different habitats and depend on such a variety of marine life for survival that killer whales are more intertwined with the fate of our ocean than any other marine animal. Truly, these awesome animals are the living symbol of our ocean, representing so much more than their own species.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, let me hear you cheer for Tuar and Kayukit!
Aren't they just incredible? Let's see what other questions we have in here. Here we go. So many people wonder about our trainers. In fact, raise your hands if you've ever wanted to be an animal trainer. Wow, that certainly is a lot of you. Then you guys should meet our dedicated animal trainers that interact with our family of whales every day. Now you've already met Jordan, but Jordan, who do you have joining us today?
I'm joined up here on stage by my friends Lisa and Laura. And they're just two members of our dedicated animal training team.
Now, our killer whale trainers are so passionate about what they do here every day. And that reminds me of another one of your great questions. Do the trainers talk to the whales? Jordan, I'll let you answer that one.
You know, that is a great question. We may not talk to the killer whales like you and I talk to each other, but we have taught them different signals, which help us to communicate with them. For example, if our trainers bend at the waist, like they're demonstrating at stage, the whales will learn to nod their heads in an up and down motion, kind of like they're saying yes. Also, if we raise our hands high above our heads, like so, the whales will mimic that behavior by raising their pectoral flippers. We can even give them a great big wave. Everybody wave! And they'll wave right back. Our ongoing communication is a vital part of building the strong relationships that we share with these animals. Because of this connection, we are able to do things like answer important scientific questions through research.
Here at SeaWorld, we have a unique opportunity to conduct research about killer whales, asking important questions that can only be answered in a setting like this. So much of what we learn here is being used to help killer whales in the wild. Of course, there are other questions that can only be explored by studying whales in the ocean. By exploring questions both at SeaWorld and in the wild, our combined research gives all of us a better understanding of killer whales and the places they live.
Wow, now that's what I call working together. Research flowing in both directions, from our part to the wild and back again. That way everyone benefits. Well, that sure is a lot of questions, and believe it or not, we get them every day.
We sure do, Annie. To answer your questions, killer whales communicate with each other using all sorts of sounds. In fact, let's see what our killer whale family has to say.
Now, each killer whale, each pod, has its own dialect and its own unique set of calls. Another way that they communicate is by using their bodies, as demonstrated by these peck slaps at the sides of the pool. Now, when a whale uses its body to slap the surface of the water, it creates a commotion above and below the surface. Now this individual wonders, why do whales jump? And I just happen to have that emoji. A jump like that is called a breach. It makes a sound on top of the water. It could be to just show their excitement, to display a little bit of power, or to even get the attention of the other whales. Whales communicate include blowing bubbles, bumping into each other, or even scratching each other with their teeth, causing rake marks. Those are the multi-line marks that you might see on the skin of some killer whales and dolphins. It's just one of the ways that they display dominance over one another through social interactions, both in the wild and here at SeaWorld. We've just learned that killer whales use vocalizations and body language to communicate with each other. But do you guys remember how we communicate with them? That's right, through signals. Here at SeaWorld, we communicate with our whales, and we want the next generation to be able to do the same.
And that brings us to my favorite part of the show. We have two new friends, our special volunteer guests, down at the class with our trainers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm Texas welcome to Reed with 2R over on my right, and Jay Michael with Cayuga over here on my left. And let's give them a big round of applause, guys. We're going to teach Jay Michael and Reed a little bit more about how we communicate with the whales using signals. So guys, before you begin any interaction with the killer whale, you want to say hello. So let's give them a great big wave. Look at that! Kai and 2R are waving right back to you. Great job, guys. Let's try another one. How about we try spinning in a circle, and we'll see what the whales do. Wow! They're mimicking you! That is so cool. We call that behavior a hula. All right, guys, last but not least, we're going to show Kai and 2R that special hand signal that I showed you before the show. On the count of 3, are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3! Ladies and gentlemen, please remember, Shamu Stadium is a 24-hour splash zone. Great job, guys! You communicated with Kai and 2R. As a memory of your time with Kai and 2R today, we would love for you to have these whale tail necklaces to take home with you. Let's give